This is the third video in a series of videos about the International 8-Ball Pool Rules. And in this video I'm going to be looking at combination shots, loss of turn, and how we go about finishing on the black. So combination shots are pretty much as they sound. It means that you can pot one of your balls in combination with one of your opponent's balls. Now the only rule for this is that you must hit your colour first. So if I was yellows here, I'd have to hit the yellow ball first. It can't be the other way around. And I could pot a red in the same shot if I wanted to. So in this example, if I can't pot this yellow to the middle because the red's in the way, I could play this shot in such a way that I pot the red and the yellow in the same shot. So if I played this with a little bit of topspin, for example, I can pot both of those balls in one visit and I can continue with my visit. I hit the yellow ball first, and that's the only stipulation in doing that. Another example might be, say you were over here where you've got a fairly simple pot on here, but you're trying to clear up the yellows and this red is over a pocket and it's stopping you from potting this red down here. You could play this shot and go down the line and pot that red in the same visit, and that's freed up for you to then pot your last couple of yellows and finish on the black. So there's various ways of using it. I'm not going to go into every way that you can play a combination shot. I'm sure you can come up with some inventive ways of using the shot and ways to use it to your advantage. Something else to remember is that if you fail in the combination shot, then it's not a foul, it's simply loss of turn. So in that first example, if I played that and didn't make it, as long as I hit the yellow ball first, it's not a foul, it's just loss of turn and my opponent would play from where the ball ended up. So you haven't got to worry too much about whether you can definitely make that shot. You can go for it. If you don't get it, it's just loss of turn. Now you can also use that to your advantage, the loss of turn shot. So say for example, you were the yellow player and we're sort of back in that situation over here where someone's covered a pocket. Let's put this over here. So at the moment, you can't quite finish up because this red is stopping you from finishing up. Now in other rule sets, covering a pocket can really sort of bog down the game and can be quite tricky to get out of. Because of the loss of turn shot, what you could do in a situation like this is, because you've got balls safe here, you can simply play your yellow into the red. You've not and it's loss of turn. So play passes to your opponent and they've got to play it from where it is. And you've left it in a safe position where they're not going to finish up. So it really changes that whole sort of approach of covering pockets, and that sort of tended to bog games down and make things sort of really slow and tactical. Because of that, you can quite easily free up any pocket. You've still got to be careful about where you leave things. You are passing play to your opponent, but if you do that carefully in such a way that you're not handing them a chance to clear up, then you can clear pockets and keep the game moving. I think that's a really good rule because it will keep the game moving onwards and make it more attacking, and hopefully you shouldn't get those games that go on for hours where you get bogged down in those tactical situations. Finally, we've got how we finish on the black. So the thing to remember about the black is that it can be potted in combination with your opponent's ball, but not one of your own. So say, take all these balls out of the equation, say you were the red player, you've potted all of your reds and you're on the black, you could play that black and not have to worry about if you go down the cushion and pot that yellow. that is fine. You're able to do that. Because you've made contact with the black. That's happened afterwards. That's a combination shot. That's a legal shot. What you can't do is do it the other way round. So if I was the red player and the black was hanging over the pocket, and this was my last red, I can't play the black in combination with my last ball. So I can't play the red and go down and pot the black. If I'd have done that, if I'd have potted the black, that would be loss of frame, because you can't play the black in combination with one of your own balls. So you just need to remember that. Basically, if you remember that you need to hit the black first, that should help you remember that rule. Apologies if you can hear my dog barking outside the window. So hopefully I've covered everything there in this set of videos. As I said, I'm new to this rule set as well myself. I'm learning it as I go. I know there have been some issues. There were a lot of questions on the last video about deliberate fouls and how you judge whether they are done deliberately and therefore a loss of frame. And I'll be honest with you, I think that's going to cause some problems, particularly at lower league levels where referees are other players that don't quite understand the rules themselves. It's very difficult to judge, and I think that is going to be a slight problem. I'm trying to find out what I can from official sources about how these rules work, and there is definitely some confusion there, and it's open to opinion and debate, which is going to be difficult, let's be honest, at that sort of level. Generally though, I think it's a good rule set. I think it promotes attacking play. They're fairly easy to understand, and hopefully as I play the rules more and get used to them, I can make some more videos about how I approach things differently tactically using those rules. And I'm looking forward to playing that. I think it'll be a good, fun rule set to play. As always, if you've got any questions about anything, then leave your comments below and I'll try and answer them as best I can. If you want to see more practice routines and pool tutorials, then please remember to subscribe. And if you're interested in any of the equipment I use in this video, then there are links in the description below.